There is normally no admittance for unauthorized persons at the Galvanic, but Maerklin TV was granted special access. This area is being rebuilt at this time. As Maerklin is a very typical Swabian enterprise, nothing is thrown away carelessly. Johanna Fritz and Angelika Matjewicz from the training workshop are busy salvaging recyclable materials out of the old control boxes. People are working diligently at other locations. Electricians are installing tons of new wires and other equipment. The Galvanic, as inconspicuous as it may seem, is an important department of the Maerklin enterprise.
Wir bringen hier unsere Anlage auf den neuesten Stand der Technik.
And is being updated with the latest technologies. Because of this, we can achieve a new consistency in our manufacturing processes. As some of our current equipment has been running continuously for 20 years, the state of technology is not up to date. New tooling has energized the Galvanic department. The laser technique is also new.
A laser
is used for measuring distances between parts. This is representative of the latest technology. How can you make up for the downtime due to retooling? The stoppage in the Galvanic department has been planned carefully. We have done our homework during the run-up by changing over to multiple shifts, and therefore we are able to get through these 1.5 weeks without any bigger problems. When will the department run on schedule again? The retooling has been scheduled to be completed in 1.5 weeks. That means everything should be done by next Wednesday if the machines all work as they are supposed to. But I have no doubts about this. And we will certainly revisit this in one of the following editions of Maerklin TV. While winter is still ruling on the mountain tops above the Reustal, there are already some timid blossoms to be found on the more sunny locations. We are now in Wassen, the most famous spot along the legendary Gotthard Railway. Unfortunately, railway enthusiasts seldom stop to take a look at the interior of the Baroque St. Galler's Church, even though the place of worship is really worth seeing and furthermore a real place of contemplation. By the way, Gallus actually is the saint of Wassen. The scene has changed over to Silenen, another spot along the Gotthard Railway. Its parish church, being located near to the tracks, was consecrated to St. Alban. Together with the freight trains passing uphill, it creates a beautiful photo scene. The freight trains are often pulled by a RE1010, which means a combination of a RE66 and a RE442. Depending on the traffic levels, sometimes 4 engines will be required, like here near Gultnellen. Also present is a typical signal gantry bridge. The scenic town of Pino is located on a ledge at the Lago Maggiore. Of course, spring is announcing itself here on the southern side of the Alps. Although we have meanwhile entered Italy, the RE1010 is running here as well, because there's alternating current running through the overhead wire all the way to Luino. There the draft hose must be changed. This is a challenge that model railway owners don't have to worry about. The running engine shed Kempten in Allgäu is a stronghold for locomotives of class 218. During the 1970s, 400 units of these 2,500 to 2,800 HP engines have been put into service. With a maximum speed of 140 km per hour, they can be used for pulling both freight trains and passenger trains. Now it's all about class 218. As Maerklin had already produced different variants for era 3 and 4, it was quite natural to start developing a model of the 218 in its current running condition. The model's casing is made of metal. The controlled high-efficiency propulsion soft drive sinus gives excellent driving characteristics. Thanks to the centrally mounted engine, all 4 axles are powered by a Cardan shaft. In contrast to its prototype, the model of Class 218 offers almost unlimited possibilities of usage. I hope it will run as long as possible, because this is a locomotive that genuinely needs an engineer on board, compared to those rail cars. Not that those would be poorer, but it is just a completely different feeling to drive them. There is a phrase saying, a locomotive is only as good as the engineer. And if you are an engineer, you surely can adjust yourself to any locomotive, but it is really difficult to say. It is just a unique feeling when you are driving this particular locomotive. I hope we can count on this one being around for a long time, but in fact the end is in sight. I estimate we have about 5 to 10 years to go, if we are lucky. Of course, it would be great if the 15 years that have been announced by Thomas Grimner would be the case, but frankly I don't think so. If we can keep the locomotive running for the next 10 years, it will be good enough. The lettering DB Regio Bayern Kempten proves this model to be a real Allgäu girl. The buffer beams have been reproduced faithfully to the original. The attached grab irons are made of metal. Printing and painting are very well done. The correct diesel engine sounds enhance the experience. The long local coaches complement the model of the 218. Everyone who would like to watch a locomotive in its natural habitat will encounter it in front of different trains along the Allgäu Railway. It is even used for pulling IC trains between Augsburg and Oberstdorf. Once again, our 218 is on its way pulling another reversible train. This is one locomotive that really shouldn't be missing on any Era 5 or 6 layout. 19th to 21st of March, the German Railway Museum in Berlin was the meeting place for numerous friends of Trix Express. The reason for this exhibition was the construction of the first full-fledged model railway, which had been presented for the first time at the International Spring Fair 1935 in Leipzig. That was when the unique success of Scale 00, later known as Half O, began. Model railway enthusiasts from home and abroad were showing the developmental history along a total of 20 stages, supported by the special ambience of the museum. Since the early days, Trix Express has been relying on the so-called third rail system. The demand for the new model railway has been enormous right from the beginning, and sales were excellent. Through the years, numerous new models were produced, proving a high technical development. Certain models already had a Trix automatic clutch, operated by remote control. Electrically operated signals and switches for train control were also available. After an interruption caused by World War II, the Toy Fair in Nuremberg brought a new beginning in 1950. The layouts that are exhibited in Berlin these days remind us of our childhood days, when many model railways were fascinating not only because of their electrical system, but foremost because of the attractive models. Of course, these can't be compared to the fantastical layouts nowadays, but their charm and flair manage to put the spectator under their spell. This includes many other model railway fans who identify with their Trix Express railways.
I
grew up with Trix Express. My first model railway was the famous Sandbahn locomotive. My father also used to have a Trix Express railway, and I clearly remember how much I enjoyed playing with two trains on the same track. My friends who played with a different brand were not able to do that, or at least faced a lot of difficulties, and I have simply carried on with this system. They meet constantly at active regional clubs and support each other with finding spare parts for their old and precious models, which is not always an easy thing to do. That's why we can be assured that we will be able to experience the roots of Scale Half O in a vivid way far into the future.